Hello and welcome to Diaspora Digital Media. My name is Ron Palm Jr. and we are looking at the economy. We have on our series of startups, we had looked earlier at using the business model canvas, popularly known as the BMC for short, to give a guide as to how you can start up your business by planning it properly before you even start. On a past series, this is the third of the series, we had talked about the value proposition, which is what you will be giving out, whether it's a service or a product, the value that it is to the very customer. Then we have also looked at the customer segment, which are the targeted persons, prospective customers, people who will be interested in that very specific value proposition, what you are giving out, whether it is a service or a product. Now, after that, we had spoken with a very special friend, Mr. Frederick Lahore, on two other issues, which is the channels and the customer relationship. Well, let me not do the talking. My guest for today, once again, is Mr. Frederick Lahore. Fred, you're welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
That's great. So let's move to it. Can you give us a brief summary on the customer relations, channels and customer relations in 2 minutes so that we can delve into what comes next?
So, like what you have just said, the background you gave, under normal circumstances, it's expected that before a startup should start a business, you need a plan. And then one of the tools that will make the business plan to be more easier for him rather than looking for somebody to write for him, because that is the background knowledge with most of these startups. So the BMC is user friendly and it has 9 blocks. But like we said, what we discussed last time is that we're able to look at the value, the channels, and then the customers' relationships. And we now say that as a startup, you need to have a plan. How can you make your product available? And how can you make it known to your customers? And these activities can be done through the use of the channels, because in most cases customers buy what they are aware of and customers buy what is available to them. Then coming to the customer relationship. Now, customer relationship is very key to every business because it enhances the sustainability of the business, and equally it helps you so that you can increase your customers base. So a simple example like giving feedback to people, how do they feel about your business, paying attention to them, even your physical disposition, how polite are you, all those things add up when you are discussing the customer's relationship. So those things need to put in place so that it can help you whenever you want to undergo or carry this particular business. You need to get people feedback. I need to understand that the customer base need to be increased, and you need even to sustain the existing ones, because in business, in most cases, it's not just getting the customers, but the question now is that how do I sustain the customers and how do I even increase the customers base? So you have to plan that, and that planning normally is being taken care of when you are preparing the customer relation segment, which is part of the BMC.
Well, thank you very much. That is the big background. So after value proposition, after customer segment, we have gone to the channels where you interact or interface with customers, and then also the customer relationship, how you make your customers fall in love with your business to return. What comes next? What are the two next things that we'll be discussing today?
Yes, you see, like I said, the BMC is of 9 block. But what we'll be looking at the moment is that one of the key elements in the customer segment is the revenue stream. And you know that every business, as a startup, one of the key things that will make you to continue in that business is your ability to generate enough revenue so that it can be able to cover your operational cost. So if you are unable to plan and identify the various revenue stream, sometimes there are certain things that you need to put into consideration you may likely ignore. Let me give you for example. If you have a poultry farmer, let's say you are into layers. Now, one of the revenue stream that you may have is selling of the eggs is another revenue stream. Selling of the chicks drops is another revenue stream. Selling of the empty sacks is another revenue stream. So when you don't plan and put those things into consideration, you may end up dashing people your empty sacks without understanding that even that one too is part of your revenue stream. And then another thing about the revenue stream, it equally helps you so that you can now see the impact of the other variables that we have discussed in the previous discussion. Because if your revenue stream is not doing well, then it helps you to find out what is the problem. Is it the channels that is making my revenue stream not to go up? Is it the customer segment that I did not get the right customers? Is it the value proposition? Is it that I don't have what people value? So the revenue stream is very key because if you are unable to identify that, you won't be able to block leakages. There are certain things that we feel is of no value, but those things added up to whatever business you are doing. So it is very good because the revenue stream can even help you to understand at what point you can break even, to even help you to determine the price that you can even fix for your product. And the revenue stream too, it equally help you so that people can be able to see your cash flow. Because most of the times in business, you discover that in business you may want to grow, it's not too good to grow business in an organic manner. So if you want to grow business not in an organic manner whereby you need to source for finance, it is the revenue stream that most of these people that may want to help you, they look at it and they have clear understanding of what your cash flow is. So it is very, very important in the BMC. You must be able to plan it, identify the unit cost, the price that is required, and then because without that, sustainability of the business will be very difficult.
Before we delve in deeper into the crux of, let's say, the benefits of the revenue streams, from what I've gathered so far, if I'm a poultry farmer and I'm into layers, the business is I want to get the chickens so that they will lay eggs, and I'll be selling eggs. So that selling of eggs is one revenue stream.
Yes.
Am I correct?
No, yes, you are correct. You see, one thing is that in business, revenue stream, there are certain business that has value chain. You may decide that okay, you want to start a particular business. Let me still go back to the poultry. There are what we
Mhm.
call value chain in every business. So the value chain is
Yeah.
now talking about the possibility that you can make money from each of these value chain. So it now means that if I'm
Mm.
into poultry, definitely the poultry their drops will be there, and then the sacks will be there. So now the question now is that for you to block leakages, it will be very good for you to identify what and what will I get from this revenue stream? What and what will I get from each of this value chain? Because without that, you may end up giving people things free. Like I gave you example of sack. Somebody will just come to your house and say, you are doing poultry, please can you borrow 10 bags for me? You answer, oh, just speak. But not really understanding that this sack that you are just giving out free is part of your revenue stream, is part of the value that you are creating. And then that helps you so
Mm.
that at time when things are getting tough, you can be able to fall back to.
Okay, all right. Now, Mr. Fred, the revenue stream for some of us is big grammar. Is there what other language can you put it so that my auntie who is just going into poultry would understand the meaning of revenue stream? It's like a water that is flowing with money. So, is there a way we can make it clearer?
Yes, when we talk about, in some other words, sometimes you can rightly say that a source of fund where you can generate money. I think that way is better.
Oh,
What means
eh,
through which
eh,
money can be generated. So that is exactly what revenue
mm,
stream is all about. Because every business that you are doing the business so that you can generate money. So it that means that the revenue
Mm,
stream helps you to identify how do I generate money in this value chain of business that I'm doing so that I can be able to block leakages, things that I feel they may not be
mm.
very important. How will I take good care of them? It may even interest you to know that even the empty shell of the egg is equally another revenue stream. So even the crack is another
Okay.
revenue stream.
So,
So
let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you there and carry my auntie that I was talking about. Let me carry her along. Now, the revenue stream, as you have said, it is the methods by which you can make money from that same business you are on. And you made
mm,
example of even the empty bags of the chicken feed can also bring you money. So, can you give us a list of some of the things that can bring you money as a poultry farmer in layers so that the picture will become much more clearer? We have the
okay.
eggs. Yes.
Yes, in layers we have the eggs, we have the chicken
Yes.
drops. Then apart from the chicken drops,
Okay.
we have the
That is the
bags.
okay.
Yeah. Then we have
Yes.
I've talked about the empty sacks, right? uh And
Yes.
even the birds themselves, when they have stopped, we call them oleas. When they reach a point that they can no longer lay, you can still sell them and make money out of them. So the value chain for a poultry, you can generate about four revenue stream from it. So that means none of them is to be wasted. The revenue they drop, you don't just carry it and dash it out.
Mm,
Because there are times that even the egg may not be giving you what you want. You may be selling the egg at break even, and your profit may likely lies within the drops and even the empty sacks. So that is why you have to have a plan so that you can block all those leakages. And if something is wrong somewhere, you can be able to now know what is responsible for it. That is the essence of why all these things are there. So you can when they reach a point of failure, you sell it. So there are about four ways, four channels through which you can raise money when it has to do with poultry farming.
well, that's great. Now, what is the benefit of having a robust revenue stream? Different ways that what is the benefit to your business now that you're in the planning stage?
Okay, good. If you are at the planning stage, one of the good thing about it, because it helps you even for projection. Because the revenue stream is not just identifying the source of money that you can have. It gives you, because in business there's what we call break even. So as a startup, you make your profit when you are able to realize anything higher than the break even point. So the revenue stream will help you to identify what the items are, what is the price that you can attach on each item, and then how much can you make from each of the items. So you can see that the revenue stream, it helps you. One, like you have rightly observed, one of the benefits is that it helps you so that you can prepare your cash flow, projected cash flow, because it's a planning stage. Since it's a planning stage, it helps you so that you can have your projected cash flow. It helps you so that you can even project the price that you can fix on each of these value chain. Then apart from that, it can equally tell you the units that you need to have so that you can be able to break even the unit of each of these particular products so that you can be able to break even. And apart from that too, it's the revenue stream help you so that if there is a challenge in the near future, then you can be able to identify and know where the problem is. So if you go as a planner, you go into business and you don't have a projected revenue stream, sometimes you won't be able to know whether this business you can be able to sustain it or not. So it's very very important because it even determines the sustainability of the business. Whether the money you put into the business, will you be able to recover it? All those factors are determined by the revenue stream.
Thank you. Earlier on, you were talking about your cash flow within the revenue stream and sourcing of finance. What role does this revenue stream play when you want to get financial assistance from maybe relatives or banks, let's say?
Yes, when you plan, sometimes when you plan, not necessarily you must start the business because anybody that want to advance loan to you, the person is aware that you can only pay him when you make money from the business. Because if you don't make money, then paying back the money will be very difficult. So what the person is interested in is for him to see that, okay, you are collecting 100,000 naira from me. How do you want to pay me back? So the revenue stream will help to highlight that, okay, from selling of sack by way of projection, I intend to put 500 beds, and then they will be producing so number of eggs, and I will be selling them at so number of price. Then it will clearly show to us how much you can make from egg. Then you now go down and ask, okay, I will make so from the chicken drops, and I will sell from it. Then it will show us clearly how much can you make, and even from the sack. So by the time you now do that, it gives the person the confidence level that, okay, you have something to sell, because that is what he is interested in. I give you money. Do you have something to sell? So it's the revenue stream that will now highlight to him that, okay, from this and this and this, I can be able to sell, and it is from there I can give you back your money, whatever I collect as loan. So it's a very clear indication, because I can't give you money. What do you want to use it for? And even help you that want to advance the money to know whether that particular item on the revenue stream, whether it has challenges or not. Because, for example, if you mention egg, the person will not tell you, a egg glut, how will you recover when it has to do with egg block? So you can answer, oh, even if I cannot make money from the egg block, there is a ten from the drops alone, I can be able to sell and then pay you back. So it's very, very key and it's very important.
Thank you very much. That's it for our revenue streams. It is a vital part of the business. In fact, because if you are not going to make money, why go into the business in the first place? Yes, thank you very much, Frederick. Now, let's see if we could take it a step further. After the revenue stream, what do we now look at?
Yeah, after the revenue stream, the next thing you need to look at is the key resources. When you start business and you don't have the required resources, there's no way the business will succeed. So you must be able to identify the key resources so that you don't start the business and you start running into problem. It helps you so that you can even prepare in advance to ensure whether those resources you have within you or you have to source for it. Now, for instance, some of these resources that you need, let me use the poultry as an example. You need the personnel, you need who and who will take care of the poultry farm. You have to identify because it's another resources. There are instances where people start poultry farming and then they have problem because there was no plan. What happened? Do you have somebody that can be taking care of the farm? So sometimes they will start and say that the nature of their work will not allow them. So they didn't make any provision, start looking for who will take. At the end of the day, they may end up rushing and bringing somebody who is not properly trained. So you must identify who will mind the human aspect, who are the ones that will manage it. So you must be able to identify. It's a key resources. Another key resources that you need to look at is feed. For example, somebody will go to poultry and he'll be telling you that his vet he doesn't have money to buy feed and feed his vet. So you continue to ask right from the plan. You see that he doesn't identify that feeding is part of a key feed is part of the key resources that poultry business need. So you look at it now. Okay, the personals is one of the resources. The feed is one of the resources, and even the space where you need to put them is another resources that you actually need. The water is another resources. The drinkers is another resources. The store where you need to put. So all those things are resources. The money that you may need for turnover one way or the other. The lightning, all of them, they are resources that you must be able to identify even before you start. So that you don't go and start and then you realize that I don't have where to put feed. You start moving up and down. I'm looking for money to buy feed. My chickens are this. So that means you didn't plan very well. And then you don't start business and then say, oh, I'm afraid of chicken, I cannot go inside the pen, I can't do that. So it should be able to identify to you clearly. If you want to hire the resources to say, okay, this business, I need 5 people that can take care of the business. And to be honest, business is all about resources. And these resources are key. You don't neglect any of the resources. Because if you now have a very good personnel and you don't have where you can put the chickens will be vulnerable, the birds will be vulnerable, and at the end of the day, you will lose everything. So all those things must be there. You must be able to identify them. So that those one that you have, fine. Those one that you don't have, you start making preparation because it is a plan. So that when you start make this hit the business running, then everything will move according to what you have already planned.
Thank you very much, Fred. It's like the key resources is quite clear from your detailed explanations. And I don't know if they can even flog that any further. Now, what happens when you now line up the key resources and you don't have money to execute? What importance is it then for you uh, to continue with that plan?
Yes,
Because for
business.
almost everything,
Yeah, naturally
yeah.
in business, like we advise, like I said, you can decide in business that you either want your business to grow organic, in the sense that you want to take it gradually by yourself, providing the funding. But then what the key resources have, there are certain requirements as a resources that you may not you may not do it immediately, but in the course of running the business, you may need them. And there are those that you must have them on ground even before you bring the beds. So if you don't have a resources, it's just for you to identify and then find out which one is key, that do I have it or I need to borrow, or should I need to look for money and make provision. And then one of the key thing about the business key resources, because money is something that you have good reason for spending it. So sometimes people that are doing business in the business plan, they have money as a resources, but they need to understand that they use the money to buy other things that the business need. But because people have good reason for spending money, if you don't have the key resources plan, you may end up buying things that the business don't even need in the first place. When you bring it, you realize that why am I using this when I know that the business doesn't need it? Let me give for example. Now you said you want to start a poultry farm. You just go to the market and then you saw maybe a generator and then you don't have enough money and then you now say let me just buy gen. I think my pet will need it. So if you don't have a plan, you may end up misusing the little money that you have, buying things that are not necessary for the business. So the business resources help you so that you can streamline the essential priorities, so that even if you need to look for locally, because it helps you so that you can have alternative. If the money that you are looking for you don't have, you can now say okay, let me give you for example now. There's what we call the laying nest that chicken actually need. Now the laying nest come maybe after 5 months. So you see, you may not worry yourself. You can start while you are looking for money. And then the laying nest, it has alternative. If you cannot buy the one that is specially produced for, you can use blocks. There's a way you can arrange blocks and the chicken will get used to it. They can go and lay perfectly. So but if you don't have this type of plan, you won't know how to provide alternative to some of these resources.
Um, to wrap up our edition for today, which we basically we looked at revenue streams and the key resources. What's your final word?
My final word is that for SMEs, it's very good when you are planning. Planning does not really mean it's something that can change, but it's your own projection, hoping that all things being equal, this may likely be the situation. So it is easier once if you don't plan and have these things on ground, you may end up having a lot of issues and a lot of challenges. And having this revenue stream and the key resources, It helps you so that you can take an informed decision, because businesses should not be based on guesswork. Businesses should be based on informed positions. So if you have your key revenue stream, it means you are speaking from an informed position. So it will not be something that you guess and it will be a surprise thing for you. If you identify your key resources, it helps you. It now means that you are able to identify what the business actually need based on an informed position, so that you have to ensure that those things are in place. You don't start running the business and then realize that resources are not there. It can be very, very dangerous. So I advise startups that this business plan is not something that is very complex. All you need to do, you can liaise if you don't have the experience. Meet those who are doing it. Identify some of these things that are required. And when you start a business, you don't run with any problem. So I think that's just what I want to add on based on these two things that we have discussed for today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Frederick Lahore, for making time to be on Diaspora Digital Media. I'm sure your wealth of experience and what you have shared has added some knowledge to prospective startups and even those who are already in the businesses, or especially poultry, to have something they can add on to their business. So thank you very much for making time to be with us, sir.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Thank you. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, you had it all. We are taking you on the business model canvas. If you are a startup or even you're already in the business, the business model canvas is a simplified way of planning and planning thoroughly before you start your business. We are taking the first edition. We looked at the value proposition and our customer segment, which is how much what are you going to give and who is going to be your customer? And also we have followed that up with our channels, how you reach your customers, and then the customer relationship, how you make your customers happy. Today, Mr. Frederick Lahore has taken us on revenue streams, which are basically the various ways you can make money from that same business you are in. Give us an example of the poultry farm. Apart from selling the eggs, you can sell the spent layers. They are also part of your money. Even the eggshells that are discarded, you can sell. The chicken drops can be used for fertilizer. Farmers will buy that one. And even the empty sacks, there are a lot of things you can make money from. If you have those information, then you are speaking from an informed information. That way, whoever wants to support you in business will know he is dealing with somebody who is serious. And then key resources, there's no need to overemphasize on that. If you don't know what you need for the business, you better go and get those resources listed, know how much they cost in your planning before you can start the business. On behalf of the entire team, this is Ryan Palm Jr. saying thanks for being with us. You can also get more information. If you want that, you can go to info@diasporadigitalmedia.com. You'll find the other two previous editions there. Meanwhile, thanks for watching and have a pleasant time.